All right, guys, welcome. The Elsweyr PTS is finally here, patch 5.0.0. This is the first week of the Elsweyr PTS, so we have our first round of changes that have come. We have Elsweyr, we have the Necromancer, we have tons of balance changes to the PvP campaigns, a new trial. There's a lot of new stuff coming here. And today we are going to go over the first week of the patch notes. I always do this with a big patch. I always do the patch notes on week 1 because that's usually where the majority of the changes are. And so far, I'd say with this patch, there are a lot of good changes. I've obviously, of course, you see people already pretty angry about some stuff. But from what I've seen, there's a lot of good. There's some questionable changes too. There's some questionable balance changes that I was looking at and I was kind of like scratching my head, but there is a lot of good, especially on the DK front. Let's go, boys. It's about time. Hold on. Man, my throat. So there's a lot of good, but we're going to go over all of it. None of the Necromancer stuff is in the patch notes. The Necromancer stuff is in game, and they have changed some stuff from what was originally projected from when like myself and other people went. So that stuff is a little bit different. So if you do have the PTS, I encourage you to go on and check that out. But today I'm going to just be going over the patch notes that are on the forums, and we're going to be talking about it, giving our opinions. And remember, guys, this is just my opinion. It's not a fact. Everyone has different opinions and different feelings about the patch notes. I'm going to read through mainly the big points. I'm not going to read every word. We're going to go through the big stuff and go over kind of like my general feelings about everything. So let's start off. So we got the new zone Elsweyr, the Khajiit Kingdom of Elsweyr. Very, very excited about this. It's a really nice zone. It looks great. You can start out on the PTS, make your character, CP level 810. You got 6 delves, of course, 6 world bosses, 2 public dungeons, new crafting stations, 30 hours of questing content and more, and hunting down the dragons, which are basically, if you guys do not know, they're like mobile mobile, what are they? The anchors. I'm blanking. Yeah, they're like the anchors. Yeah, it's like mobile ones. I'm like blanking super hard. First paragraph here. Poseidon and Potato goes wild. There we go. Dolmen. I knew it began with a D. Just like my mind just went. Whoosh. Yeah. So basically, the dragons are like mobile dolmens, basically, but tougher. So it's not a static encounter, which is really nice. We also have the new class, the Necromancer, long awaited since beta. Necromancer is able to summon undead to attack their enemies, blood and bone to protect themselves and manipulate the balance of life. The pets are Fire and Forget. Think about the Nightblade Shade, more kind of like that. And the cool thing is that certain necromantic abilities are marked as a criminal act, so the guards will not be very happy if you summon, I've been saying Little Jimmy, if you summon Little Jimmy from the dead to cast spells or shoot bows at your opponents, the guards will be less than enthused about that fact. So certain things are criminal acts. Can't be summoning big flesh atronachs inside of Rimmen. Can't be doing that stuff. So certain things will give you a bounty. It's a cool RP element. I like it. Gives the Necromancer a unique feel. We also have the Sunspire Trial, which is very Maw of Lorcage-esque. The Temple of the First Cat was one time a gleaming golden sight perched on the lip of slumbering volcanic crater in the blah 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 blah. It's like an Alkosh themed trial. I'm trying to think about them. Let's just get to the main points. Here. 12-player trial located in southern Elsweyr. Normal and vet mode, but for the first time, each trial boss has its own hard mode. It's not just the final boss. Every boss has its own hard mode. There's also a unique player skin. For the first time, there is a unique player mount earnable in something. Thank God. They need to do this more. I'm glad that they're doing this with the new trial. We have several titles and unique housing items. Guys, the trial is really fun. I played through it on normal when I went to ZOS. It's really fun. I wish they let us play it on vet, but they wanted to save that for release or for PTS. So I'm very excited to play through the trial when it comes to especially when it comes to live. We got some new item sets. We got 14 new item sets, 3 overland sets, 3 crafted sets, and 8 from Sunspire. So we have Crafty Elfique, which is basically Magical Hulking Jogger. So it's just a ton of maximum magicka for all the bonuses. We have Durlock Bray, which is a medium set, a line of magic recovery, stamina recovery. Reduces the radius you can be detected while sneaking by 2 meters, and reduces the cost of sneak by 10%. And while crouching, you restore 670 magic and stamina and heal for 670 health every second. This is going to be a good set for all of you people who love to make your money through thievery and sneaking. This is going to be awesome. So we have Call the Undertaker as a heavy armor set, 4% healing taken, maximum health, healing done, maximum health. When you deal damage with light attack, you apply minor lifesteal to your enemies for 8 seconds, healing you and your allies for 600 health every 1 second when damaging them. This can occur once every 8 seconds. Crafted sets, we have Centrot's Grit, healing done, healing taken, maximum health, and after being damaged by a damage over time ability, increase your healing received by 6%, and increase your physical and spell resistance by 25/85 for 3 seconds. That's pretty good. This doesn't have a cooldown. If these were a little bit better, I'd say maybe this would be like really good, but the 2 through 4, like, they're all right. But this is a lot of healing done though, man. Healing received 6%. Make that 10%, then 4% healing, or excuse me, 10%, and then another 4% healing done. It's a lot of freaking healing, man. Helps, I guess, help counteract all them dots. We have Vistari's Tutelage, maximum stamina, maximum health, maximum magicka recovery. Real quick, I am Ambition. Coming up with a Prime sub, man. Thank you very much, dude. I appreciate that. Welcome in. Enjoy those emotes, dude. Thank you so much for the sub. So when you resurrect an ally, you gain 258 weapon and spell damage and 10% cost reduction to all abilities for 10 seconds. That's going to be real good on the Necromancers, assuming that the ultimate counts as a resurrection. That's going to be really good. Cold Harbor's favorite. This one is like it's like a meme set. It's pretty funny. Maximum magicka, maximum stamina, spell damage, weapon damage. When you heal yourself or an ally, you summon Cadwell's Noble Mount, Honor. After 2 seconds, will heal you or allies around him for 12.1k over 4 seconds. But then when you damage an enemy, he will explode in an AoE and deal 12k damage over 4 seconds. And this can only be summoned once every 10 seconds. That is interesting. It's gonna be very cool to see what kind of interactions this will have. I can't wait to see what the skill effect looks like as well. Now into our trial sets, we have False God's Devotion, spell critical, minor slayer at all times, spell critical, spell damage, and reduces the cost of your magic abilities by 8%. When you kill an enemy, you restore 2150 magicka at major exposition for 8 seconds. So I'm pretty sure that's magicka VO. Tooth of Loxtes, weapon damage, minor slayer, weapon damage, and when you activate a synergy, you gain major slayer for 15 seconds, increasing your damage done to dungeon trial monsters by 15%. Basically, it's a very selfish war machine. So I think this is going to be a good option for some people in trials, though, if the tank can afford to give up some synergies. Eye of Navintus. Magic recovery, maximum magic, and minor Aegis, and when an ally activates one of your synergies, you and the ally who activated the synergy get 12% cost reduction for non-ultimate abilities for 3 seconds, and this could occur once every 6 seconds. Claw of Yolnakreen. We have health, minor Aegis, stamina, and when you taunt an enemy, real quick, Aerith, 10 months subbed, 2 more months would make 1 year. Thank you, man. The big 10-month resub. Welcome back, dude, for another month. So when you taunt an enemy, you give yourself and 11 group members minor courage for 15 seconds, increasing your weapon and spell damage. Real quick, another sub. Jules, coming in with that Prime sub. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Oh my God, dude. Hoppler also following it up with a Prime sub. Jeez, dude. You guys are crazy, man. Thank you for all the big Prime subs. I appreciate that. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome and enjoy those emotes. Thank you very much. So, I think this set, the Claw of Yolnakreen, this is going to be a staple set, I think, for your off-tank. I think this is going to be a staple set for your off-tank because your main tank will still bring, be Alkosh, Torch Pact. And then I think your off-tank can bring Eben and Claw of Yolnakreen. I think it's going to be a really, really good set because I'm pretty sure Olorime and SPC are major courage. If I'm like, you know, I'm like blanking tons today. Savage Beast, thank you for the follow. And then yo, Cyber Quack also coming in. Oh, wait, dabbing prime sub. Thank you, man. Welcome in. Enjoy those emotes, dude. Welcome. The new main tank meta is Alkosh and Claw 100%. I could also still see Alkosh Torgs being a thing, though, when you sticking this on your off tank. You know? I could definitely see this going on off tanks. You know, especially because it's when you taunt an enemy, you give yourself an 11 group member's minor courage. So assuming there is other things to taunt, you can just, if you know, are taunting basically like another ad in the encounter for, you know, for the off tanks doing that, you'll still be giving minor courage to your group, and you will still be getting maximum penetration value on your like main big boss with Torg's Alkosh. Better on main since they will be 100% taunting all the time. I could see that. It's just gonna have to be, I think, what ends up being more damage in the long run. You know, is the extra crusher from Torg's more damage, or is the minor courage more damage? Like, you know, if an off tank can keep up reliable uptime on it, then in that case, I think having Torgs on your main tank will be a little bit better. But if off tanks end up not being able to keep a good off time on this, it's going to be a matter of, okay, is the Torgs penetration going to give you more damage, or is the minor courage going to end up giving you more damage? So discussions of Torgs being moved to healers. Could definitely see that happening. Ooh, that's very interesting. Olorime Torgs could do that with the wall elements. That's actually very interesting. That's very, very interesting. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. But what's good about Claw though is Claw introduces a new set into the healer tank, basically the support set rotation. So we have a new set that's coming in. It's a really, really good set, and it will see use. It will see use. Yo, Big, what's going on, man? How you doing? We will get to Earthgore later, everybody. We will get to Earthgore later. And then obviously there's the perfected versions, which are all basically just better. We have some collectibles. So there's a costume, a hat. I'm going to skip over all this. Got some new dies, some new titles. New housing options. With the Elsweyr chapter, you get a special in-game home, the Hall of Lunar Champion, acquired by completing the main quest. This quest also provides the first of 4 collectibles. That's very cool. I like stuff like that, man. I like stuff like that. Earnable stuff like this by doing actual things in-game. Just keep doing this, Sauce. Keep doing this. There's new motifs. New crafting ingredients, and I want to mention this. Dragon's Blood and Dragon's Bile can be obtained by defeating dragons, and these new alchemy reagents carry the new trait of minor heroism, which can now come from potions. Oh my god. That's going to be something, dude. Airbear, thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate that. That is going to be something. We also have the Guild Finder. The Guild Finder basically been... I've always thought that that ESOs needed something like this, and I'm glad to see a system that, like, something that, like, World of Warcraft has coming to ESO. It's really, really good. So there's going to be a new section present within the guild menu for recruitment. Here, a guild leader can fill out information about their guild, as well as a custom headline and guild description. Once they provide enough information, they can list their guild in the Guild Finder. Other players within the guilds will be able to see their guild's listing while active as well. If you're looking for a guild, you can now access the Guild Finder within the guilds menu located below the list of any guilds you may be currently in. From here, you can browse multiple guild types and guilds and filter down potential matches by several additional criteria. Once you find a guild that looks like a fit, you can send an application to the guild that includes some basic information about your character and account, as well as the option to include a custom message. Members of the guild with a new managed application permission will be able to view and respond to applications, and accepting an application will add the member to your guild. Declining removes their application. Real quick, reference. Me and another tank friend came to the same conclusion before this. The new set claw will require tanks to drop Torgs. While you can put Torgs on a healer, we're looking at something like this. Main tank is Claw and Alkosh. Off tank is still Ebon and whatever. Healer 1 is Olorime, Backbar, and Worm. Healer 2 is IA, Backbar, and Torgs. Second set on off tank could be another Alkosh, Powerful Assault, etc. Ah, it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, I can see that. Very cool. Average Mike Skittish and Punanius. Thank you for the follows. Appreciate it. We also have, in addition to that, we have some new guild features. Pending invitations to a guild are now at the bottom of the guild roster, and they can be canceled if desired. Oh, that's nice. I didn't even know that. The member count of a guild has been updated to reflect the fact that pending invitations to a guild count against the guild member limit. Now, this, I've been waiting for this for so long. Added the ability to blacklist accounts from your guild. A blacklisted player will not be able to join the guild while blacklisted, and a new permission has also been added for that. Very good. Very, very good. Excited for that. Okay, now we get to some controversial parts of the notes. Rargos, Zenwraith, and Illusionitis. Thank you for the follows. So, PvP weapon artifacts. Volendrung has been unleashed on Cyrodiil in all campaigns. After picking up the weapon, your ability bar will swap out, stats will be adjusted, and you'll be the living embodiment of this ancient weapon. This artifact can be wielded by any player in Cyrodiil and spawns around the world about 4 to 5 times a day. That's actually way more frequent than I expected. You must keep feeding the weapon alliance points. Repairing the structures or resurrecting other players doesn't count, or else the power will kill you. Added a tutorial for this weapon led by Shea Gorath on each alliance starter gate where the quest boards are located. Cyrodiil campaign adjustments. All currently existing campaigns will be shut down. In keeping with the Season of the Dragon, we will be introducing 6 new campaigns with some rules added. These are some frickin' names, dude. Balok'dan is a 30-day no-CP alliance-locked campaign. Kalgrown Teed is the 30-day CP-enabled alliance-locked campaign. Yolnar Kreen is the 7-day CP-enabled campaign. Mulamir is the 10 through 49 campaign, and then there's 2 campaigns of IC, no CP, and CP enabled. Alliance lock campaigns are a new style of campaign rule that's only being applied to the 30-day durations. In these campaigns, each account will only be able to participate with and represent a single alliance for the duration of the campaign. There are 2 methods of locking in your alliance for a campaign. In both cases, alliance selection is determined by the alliance of the character you are currently logged in with. Method 1, assigning a home campaign in the alliance war menu. Method 2, enter Cyrodiil on a campaign you've not previously joined. Once you've locked in your alliance, only characters of the same alliance on your account will be allowed to enter Cyrodiil in that campaign. There is no option to change your locked alliance until the campaign duration has elapsed. Multiple in-game notifications have been added to warn you when you're about to join an alliance-locked campaign. Campaigns not flagged with alliance lock rule set remain unchanged. Any character above level 10 from any alliance can play in those campaigns at any time. Imperial City is now its own campaign, so the doors inside Cyrodiil have been shut. You have to do queue through the IC queue. Remove the guest campaign status as well, so you no longer need to guest campaign. You're now free to play in any campaign at will. Home campaign status is needed for earning leaderboard rewards at the end of campaigns and participating in Emperorship leaderboards. Emperor leaderboards have been adjusted. Once you have served as Emperor in a campaign, you cannot be crowned as an Emperor for a different alliance for the rest of that campaign's duration. Whew. Okay. So, what I'm gathering from this is that even if you're alliance locked for Call, I'm going to do Call, Ball, Yol, Mole. Even if you're alliance locked for that, yeah, see, once you've locked in your alliance, only characters in the same alliance in your account will be able to enter Cyrodiil on that campaign. And then there's the Bloody L and Kohai. Thank you for the follows. Appreciate it. Campaigns not flagged, the alliance will remain no change. So what I'm gathering from this is that because you no longer need to have a guest campaign, I believe that you should be able to still enter in Balok'dan on a different alliance. Here, okay. So I think you should still be able to go into Balok'dan on a different alliance. Like if you lock in the 30-day CP campaign as EP, from my understanding of this, maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but at least the way I'm reading it, you should be able to still lock in on the no CP campaign on a different faction. No, I still don't want to see alliance change tokens. I don't want to see them. They were in World of Warcraft and it was a disaster, honestly. If any of you guys played WoW, the faction balance in WoW ended up being an atrocious situation. So, okay. this is a very controversial topic that a lot of people have very strong opinions on. And I kind of sit on the fence, if I'm going to be honest. I was completely on the for. I was for this when I first heard about it, completely for it. But the more I've discussed it with people, I'm kind of on the fence. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Mortal and Dietrich, thank you for the follows. Why was it a disaster? Because you would have in a PvP cycle, you would have about 96% of the PvP population on one faction and 4% on the other. Okay, it was terrible. People would just flood to one alliance, whichever alliance was better. So, yeah, so like I said, from my understanding about this, you should still be able to lock in Bollocked on one alliance and call on another. Now, the good. We're gonna do a little good and bad here. The good. During prime time, theoretically, this should help balance out the PvP population. You know, if there are people during prime time who, let's say, you know, they want to play with some friends, you know, they don't want to, everybody doesn't want to play EP that night, right? I'm just going to keep using EP as our home faction, for example. They can queue for the old Shore, the 7-day CP-enabled campaign with their friends, and they can go into Shore, and they can get fights. You know, everybody who doesn't want to play in their alliance that night can move into Shore and go play with other people. You know, you can move in and out of Shore freely, however you'd like, or Yolnahkriin, however you'd like. So theoretically, people who don't want to only play for their faction that night can go into Yolnahkriin, or they can go into Bollocked. If they want to have a second faction, they can maybe make their DC characters, their no CP characters, their EP characters, their CP characters. So the theory behind this, and especially with IC being its own campaigns as well, theoretically, it should spread people more over the campaigns. Because I said, it doesn't mean it would be more awkward to play with friends on other alliances with all characters, but that's kind of part of the purpose with this, is that, at least their intention, is that if you do want to play an alt character with a friend, you'll go into Yolnahkriin. So it'll kind of force people to go into that campaign. Now, during prime time, I can see this working. The issue is during off prime time hours, like the non-prime hours, where Shore, as we know it, is always a ghost town. Soft the Sill is always a ghost town. So in this case, Bollocked and Yolnahkriin are ghost towns. And it's going to only be Calgrown Teed that's only going to be the one that actually has people in it. So if you, let's say you know, live somewhere else and you're not in US prime time, you know, you run into that issue is, okay, is Call going to be the only viable campaign? And if it is, then am I not going to be able to play if my friends play on a different alliance during non-primetime hours? And I kind of think that could be an issue. It's a little hard because I see the theory behind what they're trying to do here, but a lot of kind of player psychology really plays into it, and it's almost kind of hard to see what's going to happen until they just kind of deploy this and see what happens. I've seen arguments on both sides, because I can absolutely see the merit, and I don't necessarily disagree with the off prime time argument. Now, what I do wish they had, I saw it suggested in one of my Discords, and let me find it real quick. So one of the things that I think would go a long way personally. Actually, this isn't in one of my Discords. I thought there was something in another Discord I was in, but there's nothing. This campaign needs to give better rewards. The 7-day CP campaign needs to give better rewards to encourage people to want to come here. Either make it a 14-day campaign and give better rewards, or just give better rewards to the 7-day campaign. You need to give people a reason to invest their time, I think, into this campaign, besides, like, I just want to play with my pals. You know, if you make this have better rewards, yeah, I mean, obviously not as good as the 30-day campaigns, because these are going to be occurring more frequently, but slightly better, then I feel like more people will be inclined to want to queue to this and not feel like it's as much of a detriment to the account. So I've seen a lot of different solutions been thrown around. I think this is a good idea to test. But I think that the Yolna Kreen campaign, in the IC campaigns, they are gonna need more incentives for people to go there, and for I think what they want to kind of happen, because that's the goal of this. I talked to them about that. The goal of this is to try to help spread the population out, and I think it'll work if they give these 3 campaigns, Yolna Kreen and the IC campaigns, they give them better rewards, because as it is right now, it's just way better to spend your time in the 30-day CP campaigns and get those rewards. It's like not worth trying to get whatever little scraps you get out of these campaigns. So, we'll have to see how it plays out. I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about it. I know there are some people who are strongly for and some people who are strongly against, and I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of in the middle right now. I don't really know. We're going to kind of have to see as things go on. I kind of wish there was a 7-day no CP campaign. Yeah, it does kind of suck. No CP, you're pretty much shoved into the 30-day campaign or BGs. But I do think that if they did make a 7-day no CP campaign, it would spread people out way too thin. So I think kind of right now it's fine with having the 30-day no CP IC, and then BGs. And then as you get higher CP, 500-600 plus, you can start moving into the CP campaigns. But all right, so let's move on from that. We've covered that a lot. Reworked item sets. In this update, you'll find we reworked several item sets in the theme of necromancy. So Robes of the Withered Hand. Now when an enemy you recently damaged dies, you heal for 1450 health and restore that magicka. This can occur once every 3 seconds. Vestments of the Warlock. When you fall below 25% magicka now, you restore 11.3k magicka. This can occur once every 45 seconds, down from a minute. Essence Thief. When you deal damage with a light attack, you draw essence from an enemy. Collecting the essence heals you for 3,900 health and restores 3,900 stamina, and increases your damage done by 10% for 10 seconds. Essence lasts 5 seconds and spawns close to your target. And this is guaranteed now. This is guaranteed. Not a 15% chance anymore. Trappings of Invigoration. When you fall below 25% stamina, restore 11.3k stamina. This can occur once every 45 seconds. Yeah, these sets got a nice buff. Leeching Plate. Instead of healing taken, we got a line of max health, and when you take damage, you have a 20% chance, up from 8, to summon a cloud of leeching poison under the assailant. The cloud deals 1,200 poison damage in a 5-meter radius every second for 5 seconds and heals you for 100% of the damage caused. JDT, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. We also have the new Affliction set, which lost a line of magicka to get stamina recovery, and when you deal damage, you have a 50% chance to deal an additional disease damage and afflict your target with minor defile once every 4 seconds. Got some new motifs. Integration with ESO logs. I'll added the ability for you to perform a deep dive into logged combat events with your group to see things like damage, healing, resource usage, and more. This is done by exporting group-based data encountered to logs to a local file, which gets uploaded to the ESO logs website. And there's a whole long forum post about that. So if you guys want to take a look in that, you go dive into that. Now, Sky Shard achievements for alternate characters. Fully completing a Sky Shard Hunter achievement on one character will now unlock the ability to purchase that achievement on other characters. The purchased achievement will award all associated skill points or any remaining skill points that your character has not yet acquired. Please note that you must log into each character on your account to register your achievements. Once you have logged into each character, other characters will be able to purchase eligible Sky Shard upgrades. This new Crown Store offering is under upgrade Sky Shards in the Crown Store. I don't dislike this because you have to do it. You have to do it once. It's not like, okay, I don't ever want to grind for Sky Shards. I'm just going to buy them. You have to do this shit at least once. So I don't necessarily think it's a huge problem. Personally. That's just me. It also depends how much it costs. So we will see. That's PTS templates. Fixes on... Oh, good. Torn Cloth Resource Node and Clockwork City is easier to see. Good, I was very concerned about that. You have to buy them per zone too. Exactly. It's not going to be cheap. Me and Wohler were talking about that when we were there. It is going to be very expensive. It's going to be very expensive. Yeah. I'd honestly, me personally, I'd rather just put in the time, personally. St. Felm's projections will now correctly despawn when you leave the encounter space. Increase time between the uses of the quick strike ability. St. Olm's Ordinated Protectors now spawn from different locations. The maximum amount of protectors that can be active at a given time is now 3 as originally intended. Scalecaller Peak. Your character will no longer take damage from the frigid waters when you are not in fact in the water. And she's much more vigilant against those who try to circumvent her lemonids during the encounter. I wonder if that's the people who try to stand at the beginning. We'll have to see. Fix an issue where a player of level 45 to 49 would not be allowed to focus hold. Just the health and damage from monsters in the CP-enabled IC campaign. Oh, they'll be tougher. Oh, shit. Treasure scamps now spawn more frequently. Adjust the pathing of treasure scamps. Halls of fabrication. This guy will no longer hate anyone not in its encounter space. Okay, it'll like you a bit more now. Ruined factotums can no longer be damaged while still spawning during the fight during the assembly committee. Haunted grounds. Farwind is no longer inappropriately multilingual. Achievements. Magma Angler will now integrate proper water type. Good. You will now be able to easily find all the old scrolls in dev dailies. These are just all fucking bug fixes. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Types of Malatar. Being hit by the scavenging moss, hunting, proboscis, or hunch was no longer applies puncturing wound. Fix an issue where the Gold Coast map didn't have the dungeon icon. Well, that's good. Hey, thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Here we go. Combat and gameplay. Combat and gameplay. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. All right, let's read the developer comment. Let's read the developer comment. As mentioned in this post a couple weeks ago, the main focus of the patch is to bring abilities in line with our standards for specific categories in terms of their cost, damage, ranges, etc. We wanted to actively avoid homogenization of how abilities interact with mechanics. Really quick, how the heck? A liquid Peru? I have no idea how to pronounce that name, but coming back with the 2-month Prime resub. Welcome back for a second month. Thank you very much, and keep enjoying those wonderful emotes. Yeah, dude. Let me tell you, these El Chico de Peru. I wasn't sure where the words ended and began, so okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dango. Appreciate that, man. All right, so we're gonna get into the changes. Okay, remember. I want to stress this is all opinion. Okay, this is all opinion. So yeah, you guys read that. We get it. After accepting a resurrection by another player, your character will have 3 seconds of being in ghost form versus being active again. Fix an issue where pets were only having their healing received from Battle Spirit reduced by 50, not 50%. Fix an issue where pet shield sizes were not being appropriately reduced by Battle Spirit. Remove the 200 millisecond post-global cooldown from cast time abilities, which is nice. Player abilities that fear targets will no longer cause them to flee in terror. Instead, they will now cower in terror, unable to move while feared. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Improve the reliability of charge and teleport abilities when attempting to use them against high mobility targets. The snares that briefly applied when casting one of these abilities has been increased to 60% from 30%. Funk, thank you for the follow. All immobilizers from player abilities and item sets will now apply immobilization immunity once applied to prevent multiple immobilizers from applying on the same target. Once an immobilizer from these abilities ends, you will gain immunity to immobilizers for 3 seconds, similar to dodge roll mechanic. Good. Player movement improvements. Good. Happy about this. So if you sit through a immobilize or something, you can't be immobilized again. You know, obviously, if you use something like forward momentum, you're going to be immune anyway. But now, boom, you cannot be constantly rooted every 2 seconds, which is nice. Fixed an issue where the visual effects of roll dodge fatigue would not be removed. Blah, 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 blah. Pets no longer attempt to aid their owners in sieging destructible keeps and bridge pieces where they are powerless against the might of superior craftsmanships. Fix an issue where status effects could be dodged. Okay, that's good. Weapon swapping while an arrow is in midair no longer will cause the arrow to disappear, destroying a blah, 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 blah. Okay. Fix an issue where the health recovery reduction in minor defile being considered an additional negative effect on purge abilities. Okay, that's interesting. You can't be stun locked. Yes. Oh, here we go, boys. Dragon Knight. Ardent Flame, Fiery Breath, increase the initial damage hit of this ability by 200%. My God, dude. Engulfing flames and noxious breath. My God. Oh, my God. Such a nice change. My God. Fire and Grip. Increase the damage of this ability and its morphs by 20% to be on par with gap closer standards. Good. Yo, Inferno though, hold up. This ability and its morphs now operate like Flames of Oblivion, where they will scale with your highest offensive stat and buff by 5%. Now, Flames of Oblivion no longer exclusively adds the dynamic scaling mechanism, and instead will retain the gaining of major savagery and hit one additional enemy. So that means now this is something to think about. I was talking to a friend about this. That means that Cauterize will scale with stamina. But based off of the way I read this, I don't think it'll have major savagery. So you basically get to choose, okay, do I want to have, you know, major prophecy and a stamina heal? The major prophecy is just kind of like, whatever. Or do I want to have major savagery and also have damage? You know, and now I'll hit 2 enemies with the Flames of Oblivion instead of 1. So Inferno, though, is looking really nice. You have some choice now, some more choice, especially for stamina. You have a lot more choice. And this is just going to be interesting. Cool. Cauterize is only a stam heal if stamina is your highest offensive stat. Remember that. Inferno will scale with your highest offensive stats. So if your stamina and weapon damage are higher, it will scale with stamina. If your magicka and spell damage are higher, it will scale with magicka. Custom thing with the fuck. So it just depends. Just depends. But I think it's going to offer a very interesting choice here, especially for Stam, potentially being able to use Cauterize. That's going to be huge heal. So pretty much either back bar for the extra heals or front bar for the savagery and damage. Pretty much. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I misread it the first time, too. I totally brushed over that. So, that's going to be crazy, dude. That's going to be crazy. So, I'm very excited. Very excited. I'll probably run if I keep... Now, I'll get to... Let me get through the DK changes first before I say about my thoughts. Lava Whip reduced the cost of this ability and its morphs by 5%. So, Lash and Whip are getting their costs reworked. Molten fucking Whip, dude, is going to be overpowered for PvP. It's going to be so good. Rework this ability so it no longer grants a passive bonus to weapon and spell damage while slotted. Instead, this passive grants access to Seething Fury, a 33% damage bonus to your next Molten Whip cast, an increase of 125 weapon and spell damage every time you activate an Ardent Flame ability that is not Molten Whip. This bonus can stack up to 3 times, lasting 5 seconds, and it will refresh every duration is applied to you. So that means that every time you gain a stack of Seething Fury, you are gaining 33% damage on the whip and the 125 spell damage. So that means that 3 stacks, your next whip will deal 100% additional damage, and you will have 375 additional spell damage before buffs on your character. So if you do something like Burning Embers, or excuse me, you do like Breath, you do Embers, the Flames of Oblivion, Fossilize, Leap into Whip. Dude, fat damage, man. That is some fat freaking damage. Man, dude, this is, and like, it's still gonna be as spammable if you want to, but now, if you want to, like, save up for a huge whip, you can easily do that. Now, the one thing that does kind of confuse me about this is the whole, like, why stick the weapon damage on that if it's still going to be a magic skill? It just seems a little out of place. It doesn't really make any sense. You know? So, it's just kind of there. You know, it is a magic morph still. No stam DKs or take a Molten Whip. It does feel a little out of place. But, shit, dude. This plus the new Fiery Breath. Yeah, hybrid builds, that's true. That's true. Yeah, for weapon damage stacking and hybrid builds. It's very true. Very true. But dude, let me tell you, man. Fiery Breath, the new Fiery Breath, right? Especially if you slot Engulfing Flames. So your Engulfing Flames now deal 200% damage on initial hit. Increase your damage done with flame attacks by 100%, and then the new Molten Whip. That is some fat Mag DK damage, dude. Searing Strike. Adjusted this ability and its morphs to follow our standardized dot rule set. Decrease the duration to 8 seconds from 8.5, but increase the damage per tick by approximately 12.5% to make up for the loss of the first tick. This will result in roughly the same overall DPS with less burst damage. Draconic Power. Coag. Increase the heal of this morph by 19% to put it in line with other burst abilities. Thank frickin' God, dude. Thank God. Coag needed a buff, dude. Coag cost an arm and a leg for a shit heal. I'm glad to see it buffed. Dark Talons. This is crazy. Increase the damage of the initial hit of this ability. It's worth by 25%. Burning Talons. Adjust the tick frequency, duration, delay. Since ability follow our standards. Duration remain at 4 seconds with a 1 second dot delay. So it will now tick 4 times instead of 3. Bronze, thank you for the follow. Dragon Leap. This made me hard when I read it. Increase the radius of this ability's morphs by 8 meters, up from 6.5. It also now applies a more aggressive snare to its target to prevent them from being able to outrun the AoE damage when it lands. It's about time. It's about time, dude. Oh my God, dude. I am so freaking hyped from that, man. Oh. It's about frickin' time, man. Ember spam heals will do less due to changes, and losing out on the heals from Power Lash will be a huge nerf to sustain. Dragon's Blood is a shit heal. Well, Dragon's Blood's currently a shit heal, but that's part of the reason why it's getting buffed, because it sucks. That's why it's getting buffed. But that's your choice. That's your choice that you have to make, and that's what they should do. If you want the extra healing, you're gonna go with Power Lash. So if you want that more reliable sustain, the free cast, you go with Power Lash. But if you want big dick damage, you're gonna go with Molten Whip. You now have to make that choice. You have to make that choice now. And yeah, you shouldn't be able to spam heal with Embers. That's why they changed it. That's why they changed it. It's still gonna be the same heal when you let the dot expire, refresh it near the end. But the spam heals is part of the reason why they changed it. And it's only a huge nerf if you choose to go with Molten Whip. If you want to stick with Flame Lash and keep that sustain, nothing changed. Molten Whip's the other morph. So nothing really changes there. Hardened Armor. The damage shield granted from this ability will no longer extend in duration as the ability ranks up, but rather will increase by 1.1% in size per rank. Just the tooltip value. Inhale. Increase the damage of this initial hit and its ability by 25%. Increase the damage of the delayed explosion by 7%. Removed the 6 target cap on the heal, interrupt, and resource restore. All for Inhale. Inhale got a fat buff, dude. Reflective Plate. Rename this ability to Protective Scale. Converted the reflect function into a 50% damage reduction for projectiles. This happened to all 3 versions of this ability. DFS no longer increases the damage of reflected attacks since it can't reflect. Incoming projectiles will now cause you to launch a fiery orb at the attacker that deals flame damage, and this can occur once every half second. Once every half fucking second, dude. You're just gonna be like, pew, 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 pew. It's gonna be crazy, especially depending on how this scales. That's going to be a lot of frickin' damage. Reflective Plate. Rename this ability to Protective Plate. No change remained to this ability's functionality. Previously, Reflects were allowing for extremely unhealthy gameplay that granted the caster an effective 100% mitigation on top of the ability to return harmful, damaging, or controlling effects back at the caster. Additionally, the target requirement makes this ability extremely polarizing in performance, going from an absolute denial of range attacks offering little effective power when being bombarded from multiple projectiles. We'll be closely monitoring the performance of this ability in both operational power and mechanical balance. Oh, okay. So, Headcracker, thank you for the follow. So, Reflective Plate. Scale, wings. How do I feel about it? Been getting bombarded with questions about this. So, it is a big sad that wings will no longer reflect CCs and status effects. That is the main sad point here. Is that, you know, getting hit with a clench will stun you. You know, that sucks. But, in a big but, I think people are seriously sleeping on 50% damage reduction. Like, that is a fucking lot, dude. Especially when you're fighting multiple people. You are cutting all that range damage you take in half for 6 seconds. That is a lot of damage reduction. I really think people, in my opinion, are underestimating how much damage reduction that actually is against all projectile damage for 6 seconds. Slider, thank you for the follow. For 6 seconds. That's the duration of wings. I think people are seriously sleeping on it. Plus, that's what I'm saying. It's 50% just for just wings. Nothing else. Just wings. 50%. Okay? People are just I don't understand. Okay? Listen, I get it. It is annoying to not be able to reflect CCs back. I understand. Okay? But you have to kind of look at the flip side. This is going to be insane still. They can absorb all the wings just by 4 light attacks. Exactly. Just an upfront hint, the dots and debuffs associated with the range attacks will still go through. But that's part of the reason why. Is to prevent... But guys, that's part of the reason why. I know you said I'd rather not get stunned, though. I agree. But I don't disagree with the developer comment. If I'm a Mage DK... dueling a Mag Blade, if you know how to time your wings, you really should never lose. And I agree that it is extremely unhealthy gameplay that gives an effective 100% damage mitigation on top of the ability to return harmful damage and controlling effects back at the caster. Certain classes just couldn't play around it in 1v1s. It was so hard. It was so hard. You had to have like a way higher skill cap than your opponent, in my opinion. Like, as the Mag Blade, you needed to... I'm just using Mag Blade as an example. You had to play around wings so much, and it was so unhealthy. Exactly. It was a hard counter. And listen, I'm a DK main, okay? I by no means main a Nightblade here, okay? I main a Dragon Knight, okay? Why not keep the Reflect but not the 100% damage mitigation? But Reflect is fundamentally 100% damage mitigation. It would make no sense for the damage to still go through, but then it be reflected back. That doesn't make any sense. I think this is, again, they're saying they're going to keep an eye on the skill because it is a pretty big change, okay? And I agree. I'm sorry. I agree. I know people are instantly going to go in the comments of the YouTube video and start attacking me. I think it was time for it to go. I do. It was really unhealthy in certain situations, but I think that this is going to still, this is going to be a good mid ground, I think, personally. You take 50% damage and return 50% damage. No, I don't agree with. I don't know. No. That doesn't. I don't know. To me, that doesn't really make any sense. Especially because then it's like, what do you do with the status effects in the CC? You know, this also allowed you to like half and half and keep the stun immunity. So would you still send the stun back at the target though? Again, though, because if you're a Mag Blade, right, or if you're a Mag Blade, or if you're a Sork that uses Clench as its primary stun, like you can't get around. You couldn't get around it. You couldn't get around it. No, no. This in my opinion. Just send back 50% of the damage to keep from snipe and clench spam. Been thinking about it all day. As a DK main, Mag just damn wings are OP. They were really good. They were a hard counter against certain classes. They were. No, I don't know. It's weird. Send half of it back. Keep half of it. Keep the absorb the that's way too there's too much happening there. If you take half the damage, send half the damage, the CC disappears. It's too much. If you spam the range stun with no repercussions, then why stop spamming it? But this is already gonna do that. If you spam a CC on someone one time and they CC break it, you have CC immunity. You can't be CC'd for the duration of the CP immunity, or you can't be stunned again for the duration of the CC immunity. That's what CC immunity is for. So they can continue to spam clench all they want. It's not going to stun you again because you're immune to CC, and you're taking 50% less damage from all of those clenches they're firing at you. And also, snipe is going to get addressed later in the patch notes. Everybody relax. Snipe is going to be coming. Snipe is coming, okay? You can only get stunned so often. The damage reduction is huge. Exactly. Look, again, we're looking at it on paper. We're looking at it on paper, okay? I think in practice, it's still going to be very, very good. I think I think this was overall a good change. But again, we have to see how it plays out in practice, and they're going to be monitoring the performance of the ability in both operational power and mathematical balance. So we will see. But I want to move on past that. Ash Cloud increased the healing of this ability by 15%. Eruption got a nice buff, which is nice. Eruption was always kind of... So it's nice to see it get a buff. Cinderstorm got buffed as well. Earth and Heart adjusted the duration of these skills so that their final ranks land on integers rather than fractions when you have rank 2 of Eternal Mountain. That's nice. Magma Armor and its morphs now are up to 12 seconds. Molten Armament is now at 42 and 36. Obsidian is now at 8 seconds. Petrify no change. Stone Fist is at 3 seconds instead of 3.6. Obsidian Shield fixed an issue where this ability named the shield more for granting 1 per level rather than 1.1%. Exactly. Whole numbers are wonderful. So, dude, the DK changes have me feeling all kinds of ways, man. I am looking forward to being a Magic Dragon Knight or a Stamina Dragon Knight next patch. I do not know which one I'm going to play. I'm very unsure who I want to play moving forward. I really don't know. Because I do kind of want to commit to one. I'm going to play both, but I do want to commit to one guy as like my main tune, you know? I want to commit to one guy as like my main tune, and I don't know if I want to make it my Stam DK or my Magic DK. I don't know. Cerebral, what's going on, man? I'm loving this. Just started playing the game again after 2 years. Nice to jump on Twitch and listen to someone talk mechanics and all this stuff I'm trying to piece together. Glad you like it, man. Glad to hear. But yeah, man. Like I said, the wings change. I know it's very controversial, and a lot of people like it. A lot of people don't. Again, big sad that we lose the CC immunity, but I do think it's a necessary change for the health of the game, in my opinion. Night Blades. Deathstroke. This ability in cap will no longer apply. Major defile on target. Good. I was concerned about this combined with the changes to Snipe, giving minor defile. I was like, okay, Night Blades are going to be able to stack both, but now they cannot. This morph will now apply minor mangle to the target for the duration if the stun is cast with 120 or more ultimate. Now, as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat, minor mangle cannot be applied to players as far as I'm concerned. So this will only apply to like certain specific mobs in PvE. It can be applied. I didn't think minor mangle could be applied to players. Well, I know what minor mangle is. I'm pretty sure you can't use it. Mangle can only apply to players. Hold on. Does minor mangle even work? Enemy players are immune. See? I knew. I know that it procs mangle, guys, but it can't go on players. Bosses are immune. Enemy players are immune. I'm like 90% sure it can't be applied to players. I'm like pretty sure I've tested it before. Because I considered using Impulse on a PvP build once. And then I tried it and I was like, well, minor mangle doesn't apply to players. Oh, then here we go. Yep, it does work on players. Sometimes the mangle effect feels to be dodgeable though. Oh, enemy players are not immune. I have applied it to players. Okay, so that one guy, I had no idea what he was talking about. Okay. So, okay, yeah, we have Minor Mangle then. All right. Let's go with it can be. Because, listen, I have to assume that it can be, because if Minor Mangle couldn't be applied to players, this would be fucking garbage. Okay? Pulsar does work fine in BGs. Okay, I think the one time I didn't use it, it was because I read a thread that said it couldn't be applied to players. I didn't actually practice. Test it. It only works on mobs. Oh, man. Minor Mangle only allows for the duration of this one, though. Okay, so very mixed feedback. Very mixed feedback. I have to assume. I've used Pulsar and BGs. It does work. Okay. Well, let's go with it does. I have to assume it does. Because if it doesn't, then this shit would be terrible. It'd be terrible, dude. So let's go with it does. Again, Minor Mangle is a very, like, uncommon, like, I mean, at least I don't see it that often. I'm always Mangles, really? I don't see it that often. So, okay, well, there it is. There it is, friends. I've never really run Mangle in any of my builds. So, like, it's not a very common debuff. So it's not like I'm like, you know, by the way, using Minor Mangle today. So, like, you know, yeah, that's part of the reason why I've never used it in the past, is I thought it didn't work on players. And that's why I was like, oh, this is freaking garbage. But again, I have to assume that it does work on players. But let's move on from that. Grim Focus. Here, hold on. Want to retain this target for death. Here we go. We wanted to retain this ability's identities and mark protect for your target, helping the Nightblade assassinating a priority. So that it's gonna work. Yo, Charitable coming out a Prime sub. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Welcome in. Welcome. Enjoy those emotes. Appreciate that. Grim Focus. I'm gonna give my opinion on Nightblades at the end. All right. Because let's do it. Removed minor berserk buff from this ability and its morphs. The spectral bow now heals for 33% of the damage dealt if you're in 7 meters of the target when firing it. Fix an issue where the ability and its morphs would continue to persist after logging off. Merciless Resolve now increases the healing done to 50% and increase the duration of 30 seconds to 20 seconds. Additionally, this morph no longer grants minor endurance. I'm going to get to my thoughts at the end. Okay, I'm going to get to my thoughts at the end. This ability and its morphs will no longer stun NPCs and instead will affect minor vulnerability. Minor vulnerability, dude. That's freaking great. Shadow, Aspect of Terror. This ability and its morphs no longer snare the target after the fear ends. After Aspect of Terror now fears 3 enemies, up from 2. Mass Hysteria no longer applies minor maim and increases the number of feared targets to 6. Nightblades have a root. Nightblades have a root. Let's go. Let's go, dude. Deal. I'm glad the beginner guides have helped you, man. Nightblade has a root. Let's go. I am fucking hyped for this, dude. Dark Cloak, I am less hyped for. So, the heal now. So, the reason that Nightblades are going to technically have a root is because any enemy that can be CC'd, right, will technically now be able to be feared, and feared targets no longer run away. Feared targets now stand still. So assuming you have an ad pack, you get the ads all clumped up, you use Mass Hysteria, they're now stunned in place. They're now stunned in place, so they won't go running all over the fucking place. And because this will now effectively affect 6 targets, you essentially will be able to root them now. So it's like an effective root, but it's kind of like a root. Fix an issue where this ability, blah, blah. So yeah, so the Dark Cloak heal kind of feels bad. Yeah, it is more like I mean it is a stun, but I'm saying more for PV. I'm going from a PvE tank. Perspective with that. But no, for werewolves, yes, fear is not going to make you run away anymore. Fear is going to make you stand still. Basically, fear is kind of like a stun, kind of like what Taboo just said. So the shitty thing about Dark Cloak now is that the heal is over a longer duration, which does kind of suck for tanks. I mean, granted, it is nice to have the minor protection for longer, but this is kind of feels bad. Cost increase of approximately 7%, but a healing value increase of 3%. You know, it is. It is. Adjusting this passive to gain a flat 1 and 2 second duration. Good. Dark Veil. Rather than 8 and 50% durations. Okay. Summon Shade. This ability now scales with the caster's max magic and spell damage or stamina and weapon damage. Good. The Shade will now attack every 2 seconds. The Shade will now affect every 2 seconds rather than 1.5. Rename the attack Shade's deal clarity. Dark Shade will actually now, I think, be more useful. This ability now deals 50% more damage as part of its more functionality. The AoE attack will have 5% more frequently and 20% more damage from the default attack. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how all fears are being changed. Is that fear now causes you to stand still, not like run to the hills. Surprise attack no longer applies major fracture. Instead, if you use the ability on the flank of an enemy behind or at their sides, you reduce their physical resistance by 5%. This effect cannot stack, but will always prioritize the highest value. Similar to other changes, this pass is done to ensure Nightblades have less moments of redundancy within its own kit. Since Marked Target exists primarily as a class's way to gain access to Fracture or Breach, having a morph of your main ability grant the same thing heavily reduce the value of Marked Target. Note that this effect will not stack per caster, similar to the Crusher enchant for weapons. Bayla Blades fixed an issue where this ability is not getting stronger as it ranked up. Siphoning. Adjusted this ability and debilitate morph to follow our standard dots rule set. Total duration is 10 seconds from 8. Increase the damage per tick by 4%. Roughly the same DPS with longer duration. Reduce snare to 30%. Crippling grasp added a 2-second delay between the first dot tick and the initial hit. Also increase the damage of the initial hit by 25%. Increase the damage of each dot tick by approximately 25% to make up for the damage loss. Debilitate. Snare potency goes up to 50%. Drain power. Increase the damage of this ability and sap essence by 25%. Major ability and sap essence now grant sorcery rather than brutality to better represent the paling mechanisms. Power extraction will still grant brutality. Siphoning attacks. Fix an issue where this ability's morphs had a cooldown on the heal. Since light and heavy attacks have their own unique cooldown. Gotcha. Blah, 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 blah. Soul Shred. The radius of this ability in Soul Tether and got increased to 8 meters from 6. Adjust the morph to adhere to dot standards. Add 1-second delay. Blah, blah, blah. Basically all the stuff we've been seeing. So that's the Nightblade stuff. Okay. So, what do I think about the changes? What do I think about the changes? I see a bunch of people in chat saying that just Stam Blades got the young shafted. And listen, Stam Blades needed to be nerfed. I'm sorry. Nightblade in PvE, Nightblade in PvE was the strongest DPS for both Magicka and Stamina. Okay. In PvP, Stam Blades needed to be nerfed. They absolutely needed to be nerfed, okay? Now, the thing with the Berserk, I know that people are immediately freaking out about the Berserk, okay? Do keep in mind that Combat Prayer will kind of replace this for PvE, okay? So, PvE, you're not going to be overly worried about this, okay? Also, I think people are super sleeping on the fact that this heal is pretty freaking juicy, dude. 33% heal on your big burst, because yes, this is still going to be worth using. Okay, it's still going to be huge burst. Okay. Getting a 33% heal on your massive burst and getting a 50% heal if you're a Magblade is really, really nice. Is really, really nice. Minor vulnerability is also super, super cool for Teleport Strike. I believe that is the base. The fear change is nice. You can now mass hysteria way more targets. The heal is super feels bad. Okay. Shade got a positive change. Surprise attack needed to be nerfed. Okay. Having major fracture on your spammable is stupid. Okay. Every other class has to get it from somewhere else. Okay. Every other class has to get it from somewhere else. Now, my big thing with Nightblades is that I'm sorry if you don't think Stamblade needed to be nerfed. I don't know what to tell you. It absolutely did. The problem is that Magblade is the other side of the class. And Magblade got hit because of the Standblade nerfs. So that kind of stinks. That is the part that sucks. That is the part that stinks for me. Is the fact that Magblades need some love, and they didn't get as much as I think they could have. So that is kind of big sad. People have been asking for buffs to Templar, Stam Sork, and Stam DK, and they just nerfed the Nightblade lazy solution. But okay, so if you buffed every other class's damage to where Stamblade was, time to kill would be so fast. Time to kill would be crazy. Time to kill would be really, really quick. I think Nightblades needed to be reined in. Now, I do agree that Stam DKs did see a bit of buffs. Stamplars did see a bit of buffs. Stam Sork, I don't remember the Sork changes, all of them, but I would have liked to see Stam Sorks get a little bit of love, and they didn't get as much as I thought that they could have. Tank Blades kind of split the bill here. Kind of split because the heal nerf is big sad. I don't like the fact that like it's like this weird, like it's like this huge hot now. You know, like this is my burst heal and now it's a huge hot. Granted, the minor protection is really nice, but I'm going to be interested to see how good fear is as a effective root. So Nightblade, I think for tanking kind of split the bill there. I think though, if this works the way I believe it's going to, again, I could be wrong. We have to test it. Nightblade tanks are going to feel way better. Nightblade tanks are going to feel way better. If you buff every class to be as strong as Standblade, you nerf all PvE content effectively. Exactly, dude. That's so true. That's so freaking true. Dude, Nerf Hammer hit the Nightblade. It looks like it's a good time to be a DK. The DK buffs were really nice. I think the DK buffs may have even been a little bit too much. Some of the buffs were really necessary, but especially Molten Whip has me a little concerned. I think that the spell damage on that might be a little too much. A little too much spell damage there, but again, we'll have to see as testing goes. If you listen, dude, Stamblades don't have no, dude. Like I'm not trying to be rude, but heavy blades have amazing defense. Heavy blades have amazing defense, and they still have insane damage. They still have insane damage. And they're still going to have really, really high damage. They're still going to have really high damage. Stamsork made, I'm a bit disappointed to say the least. Yeah, Stamsork did not get nearly the love I thought it should have. But it's not they have good survivability even in medium too. I would argue that they're one of the classes that could take advantage out of medium the best in my opinion. And their damage is still going to be really good. The damage is still going to be good. Like the only place that they lost they lost their fracture off their spammable, which no other class has. Every other class has to put fracture somewhere. And they don't get major defile in addition to the 1,000 other effects that they get off of an ult that costs 70. So, in my opinion, the nerfs were needed. For me, okay? I think people, okay? I think people, in my opinion, are always a little, people always overreact to nerfs first. They always overreact to nerfs first. Test it out first. Test it out on the PTS, see how it feels, and then go from there. As a Standblade main, even I feel it was necessary. It was. It absolutely was. It absolutely was. But anyway, we're going to move on from Nightblades. Overall, TLDR of the Nightblade section, I'm glad to see Standblade nerfed. Again, the Berserk isn't really a huge loss in PvE. You're going to still get it from Combat Prayer. Magblade needed some love. I like the Standblade nerfs, but Magblade needed the love to combat the nerfs that it got kind of like handed, you know, as like a side effect. And it didn't. So, we'll have to see. So Dark Magic, Sorcerer, Crystal Shard, reduce the cost of this ability and its morphs by 15% to put it in line with our other cast abilities. Dark Exchange, fix an issue where this ability, Dark Virgins would fail to return resources or heal if they are cast while silenced. In case, reduce the duration of the immobilizing this ability and its morph from 4 seconds from 4.5. That kind of goes into their whole, streamlining things. Shattering Prison, increase the damage of the explosion by up to 82% to put it on par with other AoE instant hit abilities such as Cleave or Impulse. Negate, just got a tooltip update and fixed a bug. Daedric Summoning, Daedric Curse, fix an issue where the AoE detonation of this ability and its morphs could be blocked. Note that this refers only to the AoE portion. Daedric Prey, rework this the rank up of this ability. Instead of gaining 1.1% damage on explosion per rank, this ability becomes cheaper as it ranks up. The final cost is now 2160 at base time from 2430, but would deal 3.3% less damage overall. Added a pet taunt functionality to this ability that is similar to the one built into heavy attacks. Your active pets will now prioritize targets with Daedric Prey. That's good. Reduce the damage bonus from pets of this ability from 40% to 55%. That's good. Fix an issue where the summoned unstable familiar's damage pulse was not being affected by this ability. Note that the morphed version of Voltaire familiar was working properly. Hardened Ward. Fix an issue where this ability was getting a 40% bonus to strength rather than a 20% chance, or a 20% bonus. Please note that this previous bonus could not circumvent the health cap of 50%, so if you're already over that bonus, you will see no change in power. That's good. No. It's less damage. It went from 55 to 40. It went from 55 to 40. It was a nerf. Yeah, it was a 15% nerf, which is good. Stormcalling, Bolt Escape. Fix an issue where this ability needs morphs can stun targets behind walls. This ability will now scale your highest offensive stat and increase the stun duration to 3 seconds from 1.8. Ooh, very nice change to Streak. Lightning Form, Boundless Storm. Now grants 4 seconds regardless of the rank. And the damage will get 1.1% stronger per rank. Liquid Splash, increase the duration of this ability and its morph by up to 8 seconds from 6 seconds. This morph now lasts 12 seconds to retain the extra 4-second duration increase. Increase the duration of Liquid Flood by 4 to 5%. Or, excuse me, increase damage. Mage's Wrath, increase the damage of the AoE of this ability and its worth of 20%. Fix an issue where this ability's detonation was able to be dodged. This ability now, Endless Fury now returns magic if the target died within 5 seconds to take damage rather than only if it gained the killing blow. That's a good change. Overload, this ability needs morphs to now properly scale with Staff, Expert, and the CP system. So, Sorc changes overall were just like, here you go, Magicka. Here's the help. I'm really kind of sad to see that Stam Sorc just like got fucking completely breezed over. It was actually, and listen, it's actually something I did say when I went to Zos. It was something I said. I said that Stam Sorcs needs a little bit more class identifiably or identifiable class features, and unfortunately, doesn't seem that they got any in Elsweyr. So, kind of sucks, dude. Kind of sucks. I don't even play one, but still sucks, man. I was hoping to see some Stam Sorcs get some love. Yo, banana meme. Thank you for that, host. Appreciate that. Streak now scales off stamina. That's huge for Stam Sorc. That is very huge for Stam Sorc. Definitely is. The big thing that was kind of, like I said, I just would have loved to see Sorc get a little bit more like a little bit more love in terms of like class abilities that can actually be slottable. You know what I'm saying? You know, just my 2 cents. Ko, I looked him over before, dude. No spoilers, man. No spoilers. I've looked him over before, but I'm waiting to get there for the rest of the chat. All right, so Templar, we have Adric Spear, Burning Light, fix an issue where the damage of this passive was able to be dodged, which is a good change. Focus Charge, reduce the damage up of this ability and Toppling Charge morph by approximately 8% to put on par with our Gap Closer. Explosive Charge, increases the damage dealt with this morph by 15% to put it on par with a PvOV standard. Toppling Charge, fix an issue where the ability and Explosive Charge morph could not be CC broken. Okay. If you were interrupted by the ability. Okay. This ability and its morphs will now always apply off balance to the target, rather than requiring it to be interrupted. Okay, that's nice. Piercing Javelin, increases the duration of the stun granted from this ability and its morphs to land on a beautiful whole number. This means that this base and Aurora Javelin will now stun for 2 seconds rather than 1.8, while Binding will stun for 4 and last 3.5. Thank God, dude. Thank God. Aurora Javelin fixes an issue where you couldn't hit the damage bonus cap without utilizing the range increase. Passives now will get 2% stronger for every meter in the target, up to 40% at 20 meters. Yes, glad to see whole numbers, dude. Puncturing strikes, reduce the channel time for this ability. This is so nice, dude. The fact that puncturing strikes is now going to be the same time as the global cooldown. Instead of 1.1 seconds, it's 1 second. So I'm hoping that this will prevent the weird laggy fucking sweeps that we see all the time. And then radial sweep got a radius increase of 8 meters to 6 meters. And then Saykart coming back with a 13-month Prime sub. Thank you, man. Welcome back, dude, for another month. Thank you, dude. Tank Steel, thank you for the follow as well. And Jamike726 coming in with a Foos Roda on the big tier 1 sub. Thank you, man, dude. I appreciate you, man. Welcome into the sub club. You enjoy those fat emotes, man. And I appreciate that, too. Thank you. Okay, so Spear Shards. Increase the initial hit damage of this ability and its morphs by up to 36%. Increase the dot of this ability and the Luminous Shards morph by approximately 5%. Adjusted how these abilities increase as they rank. Spear Shards increase the damage dealt. Luminous Shards no longer increases damage, but instead gains cost reduction. Blazing Sphere increases damage dealt by the entire ability as it ranks up. Then we have Sun Shield. Updated the tooltip for this ability and its morphs to state the actual value rather than ambiguous values that require you to do math. Increase the initial damage of this hit in the Radiant Ward by up to 150% to put it on par with the PBOE standards. Blazing Shield damage remains untouched since it's already above that standard, since it has an additional requirement in order to gain that damage. Wow. Radiant Morph, this ability no longer gains additional cost reduction as it ranked up. Okay. Dawn's Wrath, Eclipse. Thank God, dude, Eclipse got freaking changed, man. This ability and its morphs will no longer proc off direct damage such as spiked armor or Thieves of the Harbinger damage return. Thank God, dude. Updated this tooltip of these abilities to now properly indicate their internal cooldown, which has always been there. Reduce the damage dealt by the Thorn mechanic of this ability and its morphs by up to 25%. Thank God. Note that this only pertains to the damage. The total heal of Total Dark and the explosion of Unstable Core remain untouched. This was so crippling, dude. I'm so glad to see this nerfed. It needed to happen. It was a crippling skill. Power of the Light adjusted the rank up for this morph so it no longer gains damage on the initial hit, but instead increases the duration of minor fracture and breach applied, since that is the focus of the morph. This will result in approximately 3% damage loss on the initial hit, but the duration of the minor fracture and breach will last up to 9 seconds, up from 6 on their final rank. Yeah, when will Spell Pen be a metric show on your character screen? We can only hope, man. We can only hope. Much needed. Much needed. Zones are been scaled for a long time, ever since 1 Tamriel. It was a long time ago. Solar Flare. Reduce the cast time of this ability to 1 second from 1.1. Increase the travel speed, but also reduce the damage to because it can be casted more frequently, and reduce the cost. Solar Barrage. Remove the delay on this ability, which will result in gaining 1 extra tick of damage. Also fix an issue where this ability was being considered as a direct damage instead of a dot. Nice. Sunfire. Adjusted this ability to more to follow our dot standard. So total duration increased to 8, up from 6.25, and increased the damage per tick by up to 31% to make for the loss of the first tick. This will result in roughly the same overall DPS, but with less burst damage. Vampire's Bane now lasts 12 seconds instead of 10.25, and Reflective Light, the spread of how far this ability to target is 5 meters instead of 4.5. So whole numbers, friends. It's good stuff. Breath of Life fixed a bug. Cleansing Ritual, dude. This is huge for Templar, dude. This ability and its morphs will now grant healing or damage done based on the user's highest offensive stats rather than just max magic and spell damage. Ritual of Retribution fixed an issue where the damage in this morph could not critically strike. Dude, fucking Ritual is going to be so much stronger on Templar, dude. It is going to be so much better. It is going to be so much better, dude. So much better. Warden. Warden is gonna be something. Yeah, the Templar notes are really good. Overall, the Templar notes, I don't really have any super negatives about the Templar notes. The Templar notes are overall really, really nice. Changing the things to whole numbers should help out with performance, right? Theoretically, yeah. Usually, you know, it's easier for It depends on how their code defines it. If they have like integer numbers, usually those are easier for a system to calculate. You like a specific, like if they'd have to redefine those numbers to be integers, and I don't know how their internal code is, so maybe I don't know. It depends, dude. Depends on how their backend systems work. Yo, 954 Gennaro coming in with a 13-month resub, dude. A big tier 1. Welcome back, man. Welcome back for another month. Thank you, dude. Appreciate that very much. So, Warden, Falcon Swiftness. Reduced the cost of this ability and its morphs to 2,700 from 3,511 at base. Very good. Very good change. I'm a fan. This ability no longer grants major endurance. Feels bad. It feels bad. I mean, you do kind of get major endurance from pots for the most part, but this feels bad to lose that. Major Expedition now lasts 6 seconds up from 4, which is nice. Scorch. This ability and its morphs can now be blocked. This ability and its morphs can now be blocked. Dude. Good for Stam. Very good for Stam. Very glad that I can finally block some of that fucking combo. But it's a nerf for Magnan, which is already being nerfed because of the snare changes. So isn't Scorch the base? I'm pretty sure Scorch is the base, so wouldn't that apply to everything? I think the 6 seconds should be norm for Major Expedition. I agree. Yeah, it's the base, so it'll apply to both. Yeah, Magic and Stam. It hurts the Magic end of things, which I'll get to the Warden opinions at the end. Corrupting Pollen. This ability no longer applies Major Defile to enemies for 4 seconds inside of it. Instead, up to 6 enemies inside will now be properly affected with Defile, which will cease once they leave the radius or it ends. Okay. Okay. Harvest. Fixed an issue where the synergy would not actively update targets in the area. Would now operate like other synergies. Lotus Flower increased the radius of this heal and its ability up to 28 meters from 12. Nature's Wrath. These abilities morph now scale with your highest offensive stats. This just kind of feels bad though, dude. Corrupting Pollen. Kind of feels bad. Arctic Wind. Increase the heal over time of this ability and it's morphs by 3 up, and it's morphs to 3% of your max health up from 2%. These abilities now properly rank up in the healing with each rank, and their tooltips state the actual heal value. Arctic Blast got its projectile speed increased to match Destructive Touch. Thank fucking God, dude. Thank God, dude. Did you already view DK and Sork? Yeah, I just missed. Yeah, you missed it. Polar Wind increased the radius. This is a good change, dude. I'm glad to see Arctic Wind buffed. Glad to see it buffed. Could still use a bit of a cost reduction, in my opinion, but glad to see it buffed. Crystallized Shield. Remove the cost reduction rank up from this ability will now cost 3780 at base. The size of the shield and its abilities will now increase as the ability ranks up. Adjust the magic return to be 22% of the base ability's cost instead of the previous base value. Slab now increases the damage return to this morph by up to 55% to put it on par with DFS. Frozen Gate. This ability no longer becomes cheaper as it ranks up. The base cost will remain 2970 at all ranks, rather than decreasing to 2700 on the morphs. The duration has been streamlined to 30 seconds. The ability now ranks up in damage, but it has had its base damage reduced to PBAOE standard attacks. Impaling Shards. Fixed an issue where this ability its morphs were being removed before dealing the last second damage. Fixed an issue where these abilities are being calculated as direct damage rather than dots. That's a good change. Glad that bug's fixed. Updated the tooltip of these abilities to mention their increased chance to apply the chilled status effect. Impaling Shards and Gripping Shards increase the damage dealt of these abilities by up to 30%. That's nice. Winter's Revenge. Fix this issue where this morph can stun or snare enemies through walls. Sleet Storm. Reduce the potency of the snare of this ability to 40%, up from 70. So Wardens. Overall, good changes. I don't know though. To me, I think Magnan's needed a bit of love though. I think Magnan's could have used a little bit of love. Kind of similar to... This is kind of similar to, the same situation with, I think, Stamblade. Where, Magicka kind of got hit alongside because of stamina being nerfed. You know, that's kind of the general feel I'm getting from this. I mean, listen. We have to be honest, okay? We have to be honest. These snare values needed to go down. That's the thing. The snare values needed to go down. Because here's the thing. I see some people in chat going, you know, some people are going, Magdans suck. Other people saying Magdans didn't need any sort of love. Blah, 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 blah. The thing, and this is my opinion, okay? This is just one man's opinion. Magdans, the only reason Magdans were as potent as they were was because of the snares. The snare, especially specifically Magdans. I'm talking about Magdans. The Magdan snares are what made Magdans good. Not their damage, not anything else. The amount of snares and group utility that a Magdan can bring to a group is what made them good. Now that the I'm getting to Wall of Elements, that snare got nerfed, which I'm glad. Sleet Storm snare got nerfed, which I'm glad. You know, a lot of snare stuff got nerfed. So, and mobility in general is being a bit improved. So this is actually going to lower the effectiveness of Magdan. But, like, I don't know. I think that they need something, especially with the fact that now Scorch can be blocked. You know, Scorch can be blocked. You know, like, it just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Magdan, I think, needs a little something. Needs a little something. I'm gonna go over my final thoughts. I'll go over final thoughts at the end. All right. So everybody who's wondering about that, I will go over it at the end. Okay. I'm gonna do a once through. Okay. But yeah, I guess the too long didn't read of Warden was that overall the changes were pretty good, but I do think that Magdan needs some love, man. Magdan needs a little bit of love. Yeah, the Magdan still have the snares, they just won't be as crippling, which is good. You know. That's at least my opinion. Weapons! Weapon change, dude. The weapon changes also make me feel all kinds of ways, dude. I'm excited. Two-hand, cleave. Reworked this ability, it's morphed so that the damage is increased by 50%, but we removed the bleed of this ability completely. Carve will retain the bleed and increase the damage by up to 25%. However, it will no longer grant minor heroism. Carve, I now believe, will be potentially a replacement for dual wield. If you really want to use 2H as a weapon, you can now use Carve in place of Rending and be slightly more viable than you were previously, which is super nice. Really glad to see that. I feel like the Magdan needs the snare kit even more now. The thing is, though, is that okay. How do I explain this? The Magdan snares being so strong hid the fundamental issues of the class, in my opinion. I think is the way I'm trying to word it here. I think that now that the snares are being nerfed, a lot of the fundamental issues of the class that a lot of like the main Magdan players have been screaming for, will I think now be like way more highlighted now that the snares aren't just like crippling, you know? So that's just my opinion. I do think Magdan needs some love. I do. I completely agree with that. You know, they are there for utility and like that's it. They need something. And also, I'm glad that you guys like the new sounds. Glad to hear. Glad to hear. Brawler. Remove the bleed from this ability. Increase the shield granted for this morph by 100% at base, but reduce the bonus scaling per target from 100 100% to 50%. This means that at base, the ability will be 100% more stronger than before, and it'll be 14% stronger than it previously, then you've got the maximum bonus. All right, there you go. Cleave got some buffs. Uppercut. Reduce the damage dealt from this ability and its morphs by up to 14% to make for the removal of the post-global noted above. 6% overall DPS increase if you were to spam this. One-handed shield. Fix an issue where one-handed shield hint was appearing in your death recap when you weren't attempting to use one. Meta changes right there, boys. Meta changes. Dual wield, dude. The dual wield changes. Making me feel all kinds of ways. I'm split on the dual wield changes, though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm 50-50 on the dual wield changes. I'm gonna get to the one that I'm actually kind of a little I was excited about, but I'm not as excited anymore. Blade Cloak. Fix an issue where this ability needs morphs where you could fail to get the damage or any of the bonuses provided. You will now always get the pulsing damage and any of the bonuses. I've actually noticed this before, even if the major evasion fails to apply due to having a longer duration bonus existing. Fix an issue where these abilities are being treated as both a dot and direct damage. They will now be appropriately treated as a dot. Deadly Cloak. Increase the damage of this morph by up to 4%, so it properly gains 50% damage compared to the other morph. Flurry. Increase the damage dealt from this ability and its morphs by approximately 21% to ensure it is in line with other spammable abilities. So even though, Stam DK boys, even though we're losing the spammable Rending, we're losing the spammable Venomous Claw, Flurry is here to save the day. Now, in my opinion, Flurry needs a small cost reduction. Flurry needs a small cost reduction. By the way, guys, I get asked about this all the time. I update the builds on the website every single patch. So once Elsweyr is live, the builds on the website will be updated. It is still Wrathstone, so the builds are updated for Wrathstone. When Elsweyr comes out, the builds will be updated for Elsweyr. No apologies. No apologies. I'm just saying I've been asked about that a lot. So what this one will replace on your front bar is if in a lot of Stam DK builds, you will see either like basically one random Fighters Guild skill slotted on the front bar to give you an extra 3% damage. Okay, to give you an extra 3% damage. Now, Flurry is going to basically replace that slot. So, you know, I know like someone like Alcast really likes to use, and I know one of my friends, and the guy that writes the build for the website, Hayhurst, they like to use Silver Leash. You know, I put Evil Hunter on my front bar. You know, it doesn't make a difference. You don't really ever use the skill. It's just there for the passive damage increase. But now you're basically going to pop that off and pop Flurry on now. So you could also use Beast Trap. You could. I'm saying though, normally like on the front bar, you do have Trap on the front bar, but you do like here I can tell you specifically. I'm like blanking on my bars, so let me like actually pull them up. So your front bar is normally Noxious, Rending, Venomous Claw, Rearming Trap, and Silver Leash. The Silver Leash is just there to also give you more Fighters Guild passives. But now you're just going to basically pop off Silver Leash and put on Flurry. That's going to be the only change. What if you use a 2H instead of dual wield? You're going to have to see how Wrecking Blow would compare there. You're going to have to see. You're going to have to see. But, yeah, man. Like this. I think this needs a small cost reduction, though, dude. This skill is expensive as shit. It needs a small cost reduction, in my opinion. But if it doesn't get one, I will still be using Flurry. I just have to adjust my sustain accordingly. Hidden Blade. Removed the snare from this ability. It's morphs. Thank God, dude. Oh, jeez. It's about fucking time. Twin Slash has adjusted this ability towards the follow standardized dots rule set. Total duration is 10 seconds. Delay is 2 seconds. Damage per tick is up by 15%. Same overall DPS, less burst. Blood Craze got a heal increase, which is very nice. Now, Whirlwind. Whirlwind. I'm not gonna lie. I was excited for this when I was told about it. Now that I read it, I am much less excited. Listen, just listen though. Increase the base damage of Spin to Win by 50%, but removed the execute bonus, also lowered the cost, and we increased the radius. So 6 meters up from 5. Steel Tornado removed the execute bonus, but reduced the base cost to 3240, down from 3510. Removed the reduced cost and major endurance on hit, and we reintroduced the execute bonus on this morph. So here, let me pull up the current version of Whirlwind, though, just so that we can make a comparison. The current version is 5 meters, okay? So Steel Tornado, okay, so Steel Tornado is now going to be a 6 meter range, a 6 meter radius instead of 9, is what I'm reading here. Does Steel Tornado literally only reduce the base cost? Or is it still going to increase the range? I think it's still going to increase the range. Because it doesn't say that it's no longer increasing the range, so theoretically it will be the same. Pretty sure it's keeping the range. So Steel Tornado is going to be 50% stronger than at base, 9% range, and much cheaper. I mean, it's going to be stronger at higher health and weaker at lower health. So, like, is it really a nerf? You know? Whirling Blades is the same, but it's 6 meters instead of 9. So, basically, Spin to Win is still in the game with Whirling Blades, but it's a 6 meter radius instead of 9. So, it's just a 3 meter radius nerf. Steel Tornado is basically just more consistent, but still a 9 meter range. It's still going to be very strong. And 50% damage increases on the execute. Exactly. This is still going to be really fucking good, dude. I think it's still going to be really good. At least me just reading it on paper. I don't know, man. I don't know. Because so far, like, they've been overall okay with a lot of their mathematical changes. You know, like we saw, like, with the racial passives, they had a lot of good stuff. With dual wield passive enchants, use 10%-ish damage at 25% health. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's, like, not... It doesn't seem like it's that much. It really doesn't seem like it's that much. So, we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. I honestly, in my opinion, I think people that are still using this are still gonna use it. I don't think this has changed enough for me. Like, okay, me, if I am a Spin to Win boy, this to me doesn't suddenly make me want to not use it. That's my opinion. Is anybody who primarily uses Spin to Win, does anybody have a differing opinion? Because me, at least, reading this, I'm not like fuck this, you know? It's absolutely going to be strong. After I heard you on stream a while ago say Spin to Win execute range would be nerfed, I started playing with Whirling Blades just to see how it feels like and live with the range nerf when 50% damage increase. That's what I'm saying, yeah. That's what I'm saying. They will still use Spin if they like it. This won't deter them. That's what I figured, yeah. Yeah, it's still going to be it's a 3 meter nerf, which is nice. You know, it's a 3 meter nerf. So that helps. Well, don't forget, they also did reduce the cost. They buffed it over 50%. Will be a serious buff for me in every build I use and cost less. Exactly, yeah. It's going to still be very good. It's going to be very, very good still. Honestly, though, like I said, I was more hyped about this when I was told about it. But like now that I read the changes on the patch notes, again, just my opinion, just reading it on paper, could be different in practice. But to me, I don't think we're going to see much of a difference between the way that like the current Spin to Win feel is now on live than it is going to be next patch. I think it's still going to be relatively comparable. Maybe it'll be a little bit better with Whirling Blades because like the 3, you know, it's a small range reduction, but I still think Steel Tornado is going to be super good. But that's just my opinion. Bow, especially this dude. This made me feel all kinds of ways, baby. Arrow Spray. Remove the snare from this ability and its morphs, but increase the damage by 27%. Reduce the cost by 13%. Acid Spray gives you a 40% increase in dot. 4 seconds total. Bombard. This morph retains the snare and the immobilize, but ensures that both apply to the enemy rather than only snaring enemies who were initially affected by the immobilize. Duration of the immobilize now lasts up to 4 seconds, up from 2. Whirling Blades will be used next patch. It definitely will. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing, is that with Steel Tornado, you're now like removing the kind of some of the thought process from it, because now it's gonna be stronger at higher health, but weaker at lower health than it currently is. So, yeah, you know, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be too different than it is now. But again, we'll have to see when we test. Snipe. Reduce the cast time of this to 1 second from 1.1 seconds. Reduce the damage dealt by 25% to make up for the removal of the post-global noted earlier. Increase the travel speed of the arrow. And lethal arrow now applies a minor defile rather than major. Thank God. Dude. It's about fucking time. No more major defile just crippling me from 1,000 yards away. Focused aim is actually a nice change too. This no longer increases the range in which your allies can hit the target. Instead, it reduces the cost by 5%, increases the range by up to 5 meters. Hollister, what do you need, man? What's going on? But yeah, dude. Glad to see Snipe get changed. Very, very good. Wall of Frost got its snares nerfed to 40%. Really, really nice. Panacea Lights Champion no longer grants major protection. Holy, dude. Holy. The duration of major force, though, is increased. Aurelius Dark. They gave it from 0 to 100, but now it's a static 50%. Seemed like it just normalized the damage. I agree. I agree. Doesn't feel much different after reading it, in my opinion. Unarmed. Heavy attack fixed an issue where heavy attacks on unarmed would not cause your pet damage to change. What was it? I think Electric Fish had it earlier. Good. Now my unarmed pet Sork build will now be viable. Feels fucking good. Werewolf Devour. Corpses in the area will now detonate a red glow. You can now devour your friends, which is cool. Devour was not showing the interruptible telegraph to enemy players. Infectious Claws increase the damage of this by up to approximately 36%. Holy shit, dude. Werewolf Bleed. Adjusted this ability. It's more to follow a standardized dot rule set. Total duration decreased to 4 seconds from 8 seconds. Holy. Added a 1 second delay between the initial hit and the first tick. Damage of the tick per tick increased by 15% for the duration morph. The Pack Leader morph increases damage per tick by 25% for the Berserker morph. These abilities can no longer refresh once they are applied to the target. Previously, a big portion of the Werewolf's burst damage came from the fact that their bleeds applied from their light attacks damage immediately. The squeeze on quick succession. This made up for the fact that immediately light attack and refresh will bleed. Now with the delay, we wanted to ensure that you couldn't miss the damage, so we're making sure these bleeds couldn't refresh if they were already active. In addition, we've noticed that a large disparity of the performance between Pack Leader and Berserk Morph, and are currently in the midst of investigating a healthier balance between the two, other than merely adding more damage. Huh. It doesn't say whether or not it's a net buff or nerf for the dots, though. I understand why they can't be refreshed, because dots will no longer deal initial damage. So technically speaking, if you continually light attacked your target, your dots would deal 0 damage. So I understand why they did that. But decrease the damage per tick by approximately 15% for the base and Pack Leader morph. Increase the damage per tick by approximately 24% for the Berserker morph. So they made the Berserker damage stronger, and then they nerfed the Pack Leader damage. They reduced the duration, but they didn't say whether or not. So the bleeds got nerfed hard, dude. Shit. Shit, dude. If I'm reading this correctly. On a player in the PTS, 8k Calurian, 12k Blast Bones, 4k Fire Skull, 4k Shock Reach, 2k Shock from the Mage and Light Attack all at the same time. Yes, you can do that, dude. It's stupid. It's stupid. Magmancer's got some big dick burst, dude. Dawnbreaker. This is another thing I was very, like, scratched my head about. Increase the delay on the damage over time to 2 seconds from 1 second. Total duration is now 6 seconds and now 5. D-Boss. The stun from this ability no longer ranks up from 1.5 to 2.5 seconds, and instead it's a flat 2 seconds on at all ranks. This morph now progressively gets stronger in damage as it's ranked up. This will result in a 5.7% initial hit increase and a 9% dot increase. Not really sure why they buffed Dawnbreaker. I don't necessarily think it needed a buff. It's already a go-to ultimate for so many stam classes. Unless I'm missing something, I don't see why this was buffed. Yeah, Dawnbreaker's already very good. Unless I'm missing something. This is, Not really sure why this is buffed, to be honest. But nevertheless, some other minor changes. Yo, dude. The Sigic Order Race Against Time change, though. Can we talk about that for a second? This morph no longer reduces the cost of sprinting by 50% for 4 seconds. Instead, now grants immunity to snares and immobilizations for 4 seconds. Magicka now has forward momentum. Oh my god. Grinning Clown, thank you for the fun. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Dude, such a good change. Such a good change. Yeah, I saw that and was confused. Me too, dude. It's not going to feel like a buff because the DB will have less burst. But it said this will result in a 5.7% initial damage increase and a 9% damage over time portion increase. So this is, from what I'm understanding, this is a net increase from what is currently existing. Is what I'm understanding. So it's still going to feel stronger. Unless this isn't net, unless this isn't a net increase and it's just like, okay, well, because the dot doesn't tick immediately, right? Because the dot doesn't tick immediately, we need to increase the initial damage to make up for it. But to me, when I read the sentence, to me, that seems like a net increase. But again, I could be wrong, but that's, to me, how it reads. But dude, Race Against Time, super nice. Hey, Dustin, I'm playing using a Ravaging Light Build. I want to make an ult and play something more bursty for a change of pace. Any suggestions? More bursty? Stammed, dude. Doesn't get much burstier than that. Or, Stamblade. Mend Wounds. Revamped this ability in its morphs. The light attack and heavy attacks no longer trigger the global cooldown and can be weaved with other abilities. No longer costs resources to light and heavy attack with this ability toggled. Light attack now heals instantly for the same amount that a light attack would damage an enemy. Heavy attack still channels and heals every second, but has been reduced to be the same scaling of other weapons' heavy attacks, and it now restores Magicka every time it successfully heals an ally. Mend Spirit. This morph now applies Major Ward and Resolve to the target healed for 5 seconds, regardless of whether it was a light or heavy attack. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Yeah, I'm glad that as Magicka, we're not going to be completely reliant on vampirism anymore. Caltrops, Razor Caltrops. This morph no longer snares enemies upon initial hit. Instead, the initial damage deals as much as the AoE as an AoE spammable ability. It's a lot. And then they removed the snare though, which is super, super nice. Same thing with the dot change. I don't know though, man. I'm not with the new Races Against Time change. I don't think I'd ever use vampirism anymore, because Race Against Time got a major expedition buff to 4 seconds. So you get 4 seconds of major expedition and immunity to snare and immobilizations for 4 seconds. I would never take the negatives that vampirism brings for PvP over Race Against Time. Race Against Time is going to be so fucking good, at least in my opinion. Guard. The transfer damage can no longer be mitigated the second time by the transfer target's mitigation or damage reduction. Transfer damage is now correctly attributed to the attacker and no longer attributed to the initial target. Will now retain the same damage type of the initial attack instead of always being physical damage. Note that Oblivion damage cannot be transferred. This was so nice, dude. Befouled got nerfed from 55% to 35%. Thank God this needed to be done, dude. I've always said that having Befoul at 55% was just so freaking overpowered. I'm really, really glad to see this be tuned. Consumables. Oblivion Enchants got nerfed. This one was such a big sad, dude. Dubious and Witch Mothers got nerfed. The max health and stam/magicka, 12% nerf. Fucking big sad, dude. I'm so pissed about this, man. You know, I'm so pissed. And this is their reasoning. Previously, these food buffs were a bit too stat dense in areas that certain pills needed to focus on, which greatly reduced consumable options when comparing effectiveness. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. Like, if you like tri-stat food is still super, super good. Bi-stat food is still good. Like, you know, like, it was still better, this patch, to use bi-stat food on a Breton instead of using Witch Mothers. It's still better to use tri-stat. Like, you still got more health and more magicka from tri-stat than you did from... It's not like you got the exact same amount from Dubious and from Witch Mothers that you got from tri-stat. Like, tri-stat gave you more. So, like, I don't necessarily agree. These were a bit too stat dense. You either get less magicka. Let's just say magicka. Let's just go Witch Mothers. You get less magicka, less health, and magicka recovery for the purple food. Okay, for these. Or you get more health, more magicka, and then you also get stamina. I don't see how they're too stat dense. It's this balance there. If you want the bigger resources, you need to run tri-stat food. If you want slightly smaller resource pools with sustain, you have to run these. Bah! You know? It's not like, you know, blue food still gives a shit ton too. Blue food gives a lot more. This to me, this change made no fucking sense. This, I hated this personally. This is like, because I fucking love Dubious and Witch Mothers. I still love it. You know? Still really, really nice. Ugh. It's still really, really nice. By the way, guys, just listen. Don't. I fixed it. I fixed it. That was my bad. It was a misclick. It was a misclick in chat. It was a misclick. I removed it. It was a misclick. Relax. It was a misclick. It was me. It was me. It was a misclick. Relax. 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 It was a misclick. I was trying to click chat. It was a misclick. Also, pretty much what Undef1 said is kind of what I was thinking of. So. Yeah, Element and Blood in the Water. Thank you for the follow. So, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that. Fix an issue where weapon enchants that dealt damage could be dodged when procced from a damage source that couldn't be dodged. Good. Advancing Yokeda could not proc off rapid strikes. Now it can. Added a 0.5 second internal cooldown when generating stacks. Kalorian's Legacy fixed an issue where certain elemental procs had lower chance of being fired compared to others. Now there will be an equal chance for each element to proc. Chokethorn fixed an issue where the set couldn't proc from healing and meditate and its other morphs. Deadwater's Guile fixed an issue where the set would put an erroneous debuff on targets with hit you in the set active. Stage of Trickery fixed an issue where each buff did not have equal chance of procking. Earthgore got a big boy change, dude. Earthgore got a big boy change. This item set now instantly dispels all negative effects rather than one. The heal granted from this set now only heals the target with the lowest health in the area rather than 6 lowest targets in the area. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. That is crazy. Earthgore no longer saves. So, listen. Earthgore got a fat nerf, dude. That is a fat frickin' nerf, man. That is a nerf. In my opinion, Earthgore needed to be nerfed. Earthgore was a huge crutch. It was so overpowered for both PvP, PvE. The set was so damn good. One target instead of 6 targets. I don't know. That might be a little too much. Maybe it could have been 2 or 3. But I mean, granted, I mean that one target is completely saved, which is good. You know, huge heal on the one target. Huge heal on the target. And it's an instant dispel, so Hollister, it was a misclick. It was a misclick, man. I was trying to click my chat and I accidentally clicked it. It was an accident. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Also, I think we've only banned one person tonight because somebody was being really salty, and the mods took care of that. That wasn't even me. But people are gonna say what they're gonna say. That's why I have followers only mode on. But so it's a pretty big nerf, man. I don't know if it was too much. We'll have to see. I think maybe it should have been 2 or 3 instead of 6, or excuse me, instead of going down to 1, but we'll have to see. Essence Thief had some bugs fixed. Grace of Gloom fixed a tooltip error where the set stated can only proc off single target damage rather than any damage. Griffin's Ferocity fixed an issue where the set wasn't firing off of some specific direct damage attacks. Leeching Plate. This is just all bug fixes. I'm trying to see if there's any other nerfs. Robes of the Hist reduced the healing of the set by 20%. Fixed an issue where this set could critically strike. That's good. Shield Breaker is super strong, dude. Redesign this set so that it no longer deals damage when you light attack a target with the shield. Now increase your damage by 6% at all times. This effect is doubled when attacking a target with the damage shield active. Shield Breaker is so freaking good now, dude. Shield Breaker is so good. Good. Just text them. My mic's on. What are you gonna do? Dude, Shieldbreaker got a fat buff, dude. Shieldbreaker's looking really good. Looking really, really good. Spell Strategist fixed an issue where this item set had reverted its cooldown to 5 seconds rather than 4 seconds. Swarm Mother adjusted the pull from this set to be in line with the pull abilities. Now this item set will pull targets between 8 meters and 22 meters rather than 5 and 28. Twilight Remedy fixed an issue where activating your own synergy from things such as Haven of Ursus could proc this set. Yo, yeah, the Scoria change was actually a lot. The proc from this item set will now display a ring around the target when it is incoming to improve the clarity of this threat. Scoria is super, super telegraphed now, dude. Scoria is super, super telegraphed. Like, very telegraphed. It's kind of the same effect and sound that you would get from Meteor. It's like, if you think about that, that's basically kind of how Scoria is now. Very telegraphed. It's very easy to tell when it's coming now, and it's very easy to block. We also got some... Before I go to bed after reading this, what would you recommend to be the top tier for what? PvP, PvE? Towers can no longer be destroyed. Roof of the Cathedral Spire Keeps can no longer be destroyed. No longer double confirmation window when entering Cyrodiil. Siege and CP will now hit 30% harder. You will now receive system mail when your guild store listings expire. Yo, Vindicator with the following, and yo, Melon coming back with a big 7-month Prime resub. Thank you, man. Welcome back for another month. Welcome back, dude. Thank you for that big Prime sub. I appreciate you, man. For PvE, I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's hard to say without testing, man. I'm gonna be honest. It's hard to say without testing. I can't really say with any certainty. And then we got some dungeon changes. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that's big. That's pretty much it, guys. So, my overall opinions is that the balance patch otherwise is looking really good. The DK changes are super thick. I think honestly the Molten Whip might have been buffed too much. We'll have to see, but overall I'm loving the DK changes. Loving them a lot. Nightblade, Stamblade got some good nerfs. I'm glad to see Stamblade get toned down. It was super strong. Unfortunately, Magblade kind of got hit and, kind of hit with the splash damage, so to speak, from hitting Stamblade. So Magblade needs some love. A similar thing kind of happened with the Warden changes as well. Stamden got some tunes and it kind of hit Magden a little bit. And then the Magden snare changes. The snare changes kind of hit Magden a little bit too. Sork got some pretty good changes for Mag Sork. No love for Stam Sork with the exception of Streak, but even still, that Streak change is pretty big. Templar got some really nice changes. The weapon changes were overall really, really good, with the exception of Whirlwind. I am less enthusiastic about this than I was before. We're going to have to see how this is in practice, but I'm much less confident in this solution now than I was prior. Good to see Snipe get changed. This unarmed change, obviously mandatory. Not sure why D-Boss got a net buff, if I did read that sentence correctly. Glad to see the Race Against Time change. Overall, man, the Befoul change is good. The Dubious and Witch Mother's Potent Brew change makes me super fucking pissed. Really not a fan of that. I don't like this change at all, but it is what it is. But yeah, man, hey, that was quite the patch notes, dude. 2 hours and 12 minutes? Jeez. That took a long time. Well, if you're on YouTube and you're watching till this point, how you doing? You've been here for quite some time. Thank you for reaching the end of the video. In the kindest of manners, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, what you think about the patch notes. Please try to keep it civil. I understand you might have some strong thoughts for or against things, but try not to, just try to be nice about it in the comments. You can be upset about something and give legitimate feedback without telling me to go kill myself. So, leave a comment below with what you guys think. If you guys like the patch notes breakdown, please sure to sub, hit the bell to keep notifications on. And, yeah, like the video if you like the breakdown. But, I appreciate this very much, guys. Thank you all so much for stopping by the video, especially if you made it to the end. God bless, dude. Appreciate it very much. I'll see you guys later this week with some other videos, man. As always, I'm Dots Gaming. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you all next time.